Hi, this is Zach, and I'm going to show you how to use the generic model helper. So under the drafting tab, you can see the generic model helpers here. And here's the window. Let me resize it. So this will help you place face-based generic models in Revit, um, which would be things like matte clips, sunshade brackets, window washer buttons, something like that. So let me dock this off to the side. And the first thing you want to do is kind of follow the flow of the dialog. So I'm going to select my elevations. And then over here, you want to select whole elevations. You can select a number of them. Make sure, as you can see here, they're grouped up. When I go over here, it's a group. You just want to tab in and make sure you get the actual elevation. All right, and then hit finish. Once you've done that, it should say the number of elevations here, and if you double click with your middle mouse button, it'll zoom extents so you can see it in the window. What do you want to place, or where do you want to place them? You could do face of system, which would be good for sunshade brackets or window washer buttons, but I'm going to do matte clips. So I'm going to select elements and select these 2 or 3 floor slabs like that. Hit finish again, and now I can see them also in this view. Which generic models do I want to place? I have a matte clip here, which I'll use. You can also right click and add additional generic models. So in this case, I'm going to do both the matte clip and the embed. So I got my matte clip on the first one and my embed on the second one. I'll come back to these adjustments and rotations later. And now you get to where do you want to actually place these models. So each one of these boxes represents a sort of plane. The elevation comes automatically with horizontal sill, headlines, and also verticals and jam lines. For the matte clips, I want to go off of the levels. So if you want levels in here, you can right click and just click load levels. So that loaded all the levels off of my current project, and I want to use level 1, 2, and 3 because those are the ones I have here. And then we'll do all verticals. So instead of sitting here and clicking all of these, you can right click, select all vertical lines. Now they're all selected. And you can see the planes are shown in this view here. And it even shows you the matte clip that's going in. Let me make this even smaller. There we go. So the intersection of each of the red and green planes produces one generic model placement. Now I need to offset these a little bit. If I want to offset the red plane up and down, I can type it in here in this red box. So for the matte clip, I'm going to go minus 3.25-ish inches and see how that shifts that down. Maybe that's a little too far for the matte clip. That should probably be like 3/4. And you could type in fractions in here. And then for the embed, I'll go minus 3.25. That looks pretty good there. And you can see they all moved. Sometimes the embed doesn't show up because it's perfectly flush with the slab, but you get the idea. Sometimes you can move or pan around a little bit and it'll pop up. All right, once you're satisfied with all that, you can push the Place Generic Models button, and it takes a second, but it shows here what happened. If there's any error messages, they'll pop up right here, but this one had no error messages. Just says successfully place 144 of 144 generic models. And if I inspect my Revit model, now there are matte clips. So there's a few other features you can use in this. Let's use some of them to do the tubes here. So let's pull that back up. Instead of all the vertical lines, I want to deselect all lines, and let's just do the left jam lines. There's 2 of them, 1 for each elevation. I'm going to switch my generic model to be the one with the tube. And then I probably want to shift the green lines over. So I can do that here by typing in the same number for both of these. Let's go, I don't know, 22 inches. And now you can see that this is what it's going to place when it does finish. There's no way to control how long this tube is inside of this window. You have to do that outside once it's inserted into Revit. So you could do it that way with an offset on the green plane like that, or you can create your own new green plane. So I'm going to set these back to 0. So I have these left jam lines here. I'm going to right click one of them and choose create. And I'm going to create a new jam line called tube location, left tube, maybe. And I can put this from the left jam line. I'm going to make that 22 inches and hit OK. So now that's in the list, and when I click it, you can see that it's offset. So you can do a custom line like this that is at some arbitrary location, as long as it's parallel to one of the existing lines. I'm going to do that again here. There's also a calculator. So if I do left tube 2, or floor 1 maybe, you can hit this calculator button and a little pop-up shows here where you can hit this plus sign to add more lines. And maybe I want to do, maybe I don't know how far away it is, but I have some dimensions. Maybe my first dimension is a foot, and then maybe another 10 inches like that. And then when I hit apply, it's going to set the location to that number. So I'll check that box and turn that one off. And now I have my tube in there. This case, it might be easier just to put it here, because when you go do the right jam, all you have to do is put a negative in front of it. But just wanted to show you how you can do that. So I hit the place button and it placed 6 models. And back here now I have my tubes. And then I could repeat that for the right jam as well. I could do multiple at the same time. If I could have done the elevation over here at the same time as these 2. Yeah, you can pick any number of elevations that you want. It's probably best to do only a few at a time just to make sure that it works, and then select new elevations as you go. For if we were doing sunshade brackets, I'd probably remove that. Let's uncheck everything here. Check the vertical lines. I'd want to go face a system for that. I don't have a sunshade bracket loaded into the job, so I'm just going to leave this tube mat clip here kind of as the sunshade bracket. The sunshade brackets probably are not related to the levels, so I'll uncheck those, and they're probably at the, if I was making this up, probably at the horizontal lines. So I'll go with that one and that one there. And then I could just place them to do my sunshade brackets. So pretty simple. I'll place it just so we can see a bunch of mat clips on the elevation. 48. And now there's my, what would be a sunshade bracket if I picked one. All right, so that's how the generic model helper works. It works on any face-based model as long as you can establish both a horizontal and vertical plane. Hopefully you're using the elevation geometry to do that, but it doesn't have to be. You do have to select an elevation though to start with. And that's about it. Thank you very much.